Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the tarot teller herself, Sandy Reevy.
I get it. I'm talking.
It is episode 298, week of April 8th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we have a light week, but starting off April 8th with the new moon in Aries, also the solar eclipse.
Whoa. Yeah, we're starting off with a bang. Solar eclipse. This is at 19 degrees of Aries. Yeah. Take a look at it with your glasses.
April 10th, Wednesday, Mars conjunct Saturn.
Surge of water.
April 11th, Thursday, Mercury retrograde cazimi the sun.
Hades rules.
Then in Talisman times, we have 2 finished as well as 4 upcoming. Our Talisman of the month is still available, and on the horizon, we have our Jupiter-Uranus events as well as upcoming retreats. In our house, Sandy's going to be discussing her Mercury tricks that she received on April Fool's Day. Stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story.
Hello, tarot teller.
I'm really in my advanced tarot card class, right? The astrology in my life, right, is very appropriate to find some new divination tools. Mm-hmm. So I'm sharpening my horary, and because I'm doing horary at no cost for my clients. So if you ever have a question, you can email me at sandy@intentionbeads.com, and I can look at it for.
Is this for like active subscribers for your astrology readings? Nice.
And it's good. And it's good practice for me. Again, I'm not charging for it right now, but soon.
Okay. All right. So going direct to all of you listeners, thank you so much for sending in your feedback and your questions. Last week, I asked, do you have any astrology questions for us? And Amanda asked, how do you determine compatibility between two individuals? Is it as simple as sun signs, or how does that work?
Sun signs can give us compatibility, but that's also kind of the light and bright shine that we each bring to the world. We would want to know, I'd want to know to do both charts, right? And we could do what's called the synastry chart. I could also add on the Davison chart. What I like to see for fated relationships, if the nodes or the moon is connected to the other person's ascendant or descendant. That's very telling. Also, really, what are the moons like? Are their moons compatible? And then, we did that big whole Mercury. Are your Mercuries compatible? Are they square? Are they opposition? Do you understand how one is communicating?
Right. And, are you both willing to overcome communication challenges? So it is very interesting. And I've had that synastry chart or a composite chart with me and my partner. And I thought it was so interesting, just the way that our communication is. And, if I were to solely drill it down to just our sun signs, we're not compatible.
No,
we're two mutable signs. We're not compatible with Pisces and Gemini. But
right, you're square. You're square to each other, but your communication, your Mercuries are trine.
Right.
So that's why you're constantly thinking of the next step, the future, the future solution, while the Mercury in Gemini just likes to talk, likes to pinpoint it and detail it out.
Do we have our communication challenges? Yes, we do, but maybe not as often as maybe somebody who had more of a square. But just really interesting. I highly recommend those types of readings because you get more information about the dynamics of the relationship.
I talk sometimes about my sister, right? And I looked at, and I mean, I know her chart, but I've never, when I was doing that whole event that was for free back in December about the Mercury.
Mhm.
Our Mercuries are exact opposite. So my Mercury's in Pisces. So I'm like a little flowy with, I'll be there at 6. To me, that's 6-ish,
Right.
mostly after 6, right?
Right.
But I'm going to try around. That's my verbal approach is more watery, like maybe around this time.
Some blurred boundaries.
And she is Virgo. So when she hears 6, if I'm not there at 6, she'll leave without me.
Mm-hmm.
And so she just recently asked me something, and I said, "Oh, I don't think I can make it. I still have to look at my calendar and see it." She goes, "Okay, so you're not coming?" I go, "Whoa." I said, "I don't know, that I'll look at my calendar to see." So I'm not saying yes or a no, but she's hearing no.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, I don't know, but she
Right.
hears no. So just in that appeal,
Right.
it's like
And so
we feel like we're opposites.
And I think that, in looking at chart compatibility, you can do that with siblings,
Yeah.
love relationships, business relationships,
Mother,
parent,
daughter.
child.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different compatibility perspectives that we could look at.
Let's talk about mine and yours.
Our sons are both in Pisces.
Okay, so we can shine in the same light, right? In this Pisces creative world. However, your Mercury is in Aquarius, mine's in Pisces. They're adverse.
Right.
So I'll be like, "Oh, Alex, let's do this. I'm thinking about this. I just had this feeling, and I really thought, it was the other night that I had this idea." And you're like, "Mom, get to the point." Right? Or you'll be working on one thing because yours is fixed energy.
I'll be focused in on something, and you kind of, for lack of a better word, babble.
It's not babbling to me.
You babble as if I'm listening, but you know that I'm not, and you're just kind of talking, but you hope that I'm listening at the same time. That is just very.
It's true.
It's very true to our communication majority of the time. However, if we're both focused in a meeting but you tend to be the more creative one, and I'm like, okay, how is this going to work?
Mm-hmm.
For how is the audience going to perceive this? How are we going to put this into like word form or actual system form? So yeah, it is really interesting how our Mercuries, align.
I'll start talking. You literally will just say this. How long is your story? We only have 2 minutes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, I'm just getting going at
we only have a couple minutes here, so I think we should continue on. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Going Direct small, short section of our episode. So, of course, we want to hear more of your questions or your feedback. So email us, alex@intentionbeads.com, or throw in a question if you're listening on Spotify. We would love to hear your questions.
I'm not talking anymore.
Okay, so let's move into the transits, where we are going to take a look at this week's astrological transits. The first, April 8th, today, Monday, new moon in Aries.
Yeah, at 19 degrees of Aries. This is at 1:21 p.m. Central Time. There are people on the move already, taking all of their equipment and their camping to actually drive to a location to see the solar eclipse. This is when the sun is eclipsed by the moon. And so it's total. And it'll be starting kind of in the Mexico area, coming up through Texas, kind of coming up through the Midwest, hitting a little portion of Ohio, the southern, going up to Philadelphia, and then ends in Maine. And this is the last total solar eclipse in 20 years. I hope. So if you buy your glasses, put them away somewhere where you will remember your eclipse glasses in 20 years from now.
Okay.
Right. Or you get to travel to where you can see it. That would be something I'd want to do. But let's get into the energy of this. This is a 19-degree Aries. We've got the node. It's a north node eclipse, which is at 15 degrees of Aries. But the more important thing is it's with Chiron. Chiron is at 19 Aries. So it's literally the sun, the moon, and the sun, the moon, and Chiron at 19 Aries. So it's really about ripping off a bandage. This is a wound. This is a pain. This is a situation that has occurred already. Whether this was shame, blame, guilt, whatever, it's time to heal the wound, but really rip off the bandage because maybe it's kind of healed, right? Maybe it needs some air to make it all better. And maybe it has healed, but you're holding on to some of that, the old story. So it's Aries. So it's about starting new.
Yeah. Right.
And it's going to be seen, we'll be seeing it most, I think, here. I was planning on being in Bali at this time. I'm not. So I wasn't going to see it. So we would have made a plan, right? We would have done something on the beach like we did in 2017. But I'll go to the beach. I'm meeting some friends there. And
it'll be a cool
we're going to be about 95%.
That's pretty close.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. Also, I'm telling people that I'm talking to in readings, of course, bring your glasses, your solar eclipse glasses, and a little room thermometer or temperature gauge, maybe not a thermometer, a temperature gauge, because you will notice, hopefully you have good vision of the sun. And when the moon crosses, it will definitely get a little colder or chillier. The temperature will drop. So I'm going to give you one, and I'm going, let's take pictures and send that in. Get a picture of it before the eclipse and then during the eclipse and then maybe after the eclipse. That would be really cool for me to see in your location.
Right.
How many degrees does this drop?
Right. And then you can wait till the sun comes back and see how much it warms up. You know,
I'm just wondering, is this like a 10-degree drop? A 5-degree drop? I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Right. Shall we move on to Wednesday, April 10th? Mars conjunct Saturn.
Right. This happens once every 2 years, not very often. It's at 14 degrees of Pisces. It's sitting right on my Mercury. It's a surge of water. Is it over the dam or is it held in place? This is the triplicity ruler. Mars is in water. So anybody that has a night chart, they get that upper hand to move ahead.
And how do you know if you have a night chart?
You know you have a night chart if the sun is below the horizon.
So if you were born after sunset.
If you're born after sunset, before sunrise. And again, take into the consideration of summer versus winter, right? Because the sun goes down at 4:30 in the winter and, and goes down in the summer at, 8 o'clock-ish, 9 o'clock.
Maybe this is where I can input this, is we now have a new chart generating tool on our website. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about how these transits affect your chart, you can pull up your chart if you've never seen it before. You can pull it up on the website and we can teach you a little bit about what you're going to be looking for. So in the Astro Guide, which I'll also link in that same page, is an idea of which ones are water signs, which ones are fire signs. So you get all of this information. So when it comes to this Mars conjunct Saturn, we're telling you that it's in a water sign, Pisces, and Mars likes to have the upper hand and move forward. He has all set managerial properties and skills. If you have a night chart, you and I have day charts because I was born at 3 o'clock-ish in the afternoon and you were born at 9:30 in the morning. So, but this could be a busting principle, a deluge, because they're both in water. It can also help us to push to get through our limitations because it is Mars meeting up with Saturn. Right. And so you can also note in your chart where you have water signs. They're most likely, if it's not Pisces, it could be Cancer or Scorpio. And that way this conjunction is trining somehow. So it's all really cool information. And we'll tailor that a little bit more here on the podcast if you are curious how this is working with your personal chart.
Mhm.
So let's move on to April 11th, Thursday, Mercury retrograde, cazimi the sun.
This happens exactly at 6:03 Chicago time. However, you'll have about 5 hours in advance. So let's just say around noon on Thursday, the 11th, and maybe till midnight. So from noon to midnight, you get this space of clarity. But it's in Aries. But because Mercury is retrograde and goes into the depths of the underground, it's like the god of Hades takes control. So it's understanding the message. What do we need to know on a deep level within self that moves us ahead, creates a fearlessness, and burns off all the gibby goo, the stuff that we don't need so that we can move. It's like taking the mud off of our shoes, right? Right. And getting that surge of mental power.
Right. So I'm also going to include the link to download your natal chart if you wanted to take a look at it and see what's going on there. All right. So let's move into talisman times. Sandy's finished up 2 talismans. The first, Wednesday, April 3rd, to illuminate my ambition and achievements.
I remain grounded in my values and true purpose. I know my impact extends far beyond myself. This is the sun in Aries. The sun in Aries is exalted, and it's sitting at the midheaven at the top of the chart for reputation. And it has to say that there's a spotlight, the sun, illuminating the ambition and achievements that I possess.
That is cool. That's a great one.
And the ascendant is Leo, which the sun is the ruler of the whole chart. So this is a beautiful one. I made it in oranges and some reds because it's that sun brightness.
Right. And the passion, the fire.
The Aries.
And I see that for somebody who's really looking to, who's got their skill set down, who's got, movement when it comes to their either career or what they're really passionate about, and just really wants to take that next step into the public eye because they've got all the private eye stuff down,
Right. And it's the sun, especially if you don't have the sun in Aries. This is the sun in Aries energy.
Right.
So if you know any Aries is, you can get a little bit of that energy.
Yeah. So the next talisman is to harness the visionary spirit of Aquarius.
I build solid foundations for my ambition. I embrace change with optimism and resilience. This is the moon in Aquarius in the 10th house, and the making an aspect to Jupiter in the first. So it's about Jupiter's in Taurus. How do we ground? How do we create a foundation with all this technological business going on in my emotional body in the 10th house of career, like we were just talking about.
Yeah,
so
cool.
And the change and embracing the change with this optimistic and resilience, like I can. Watch me. I can. Now the moon is up there, right? It's not the sun up there. It's the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? No, that's a cool one because that's like out of the box thinking. Really.
Right. And this is, we were just
stuff.
talking about your Mercury. I mean, your Mercury is in the 10th house. So this could be one for you.
Yeah, it could be.
That's probably why you like it.
So let's talk about the upcoming talismans that will be happening this week. The first is Tuesday, April 9th, to be infused with the radiant energy of the sun.
Yeah, there's 2 to make on Tuesday. 2 on Tuesday. You're right. This first one is to be infused with the radiant energy of the sun. Again, the sun is exalted in Aries. I am empowered with courage, vitality, and pioneering spirit. That's the sun part. I embrace stability, abundance, and inner peace. I am steady and assertive. This is the moon is also in exaltation in Taurus, also in the 10th house.
So that's
this is
the
new
stability.
Moon.
Right.
Yeah. So that stability, abundance, and inner peace is the moon being in her exaltation, Taurus. And she's the steady And then the sun in his exaltation is the courage, vitality, pioneering spirit, and assertiveness. So it's combining. There's only one time of the year that we can get this. And this is when the sun is in Aries and the moon is just crossed that new moon Aries, which we're talking about the eclipse period, and moving beyond and into the next sign, which is her exaltation.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's move into the next talisman, which is the same day, Tuesday, April 9th, and that is to embrace all that unfolds harmoniously.
Each step I take is guided by celestial wisdom, ensuring that all aspects of my life align with divine purpose. This is the moon in Taurus on the midheaven and conjunct that third lunar mansion. I use the third lunar mansion. It's the one I wear every day. Right. This is like my own 8 or 9 years of wearing this lunar mansion. And the lunar mansion provides everything we need. It's like everything turns out well. So really, it's like each step is guided by celestial wisdom, ensuring that all aspects of my life are aligning with divine purpose. Again, that the bracelet's got you. The talisman has got you. Yeah. And the third lunar mansions, I had one available and we did sell it at the I Can Do It because they don't stick around very often. And I can usually make them every month. Not all the time, but the moon goes into her exaltation in that lunar moon, third lunar moon mansion once a month.
Yeah. And the next talisman coming up is Sunday, April 14th, to be rooted in my intuition.
I move forward, driven with purpose, with confidence and clarity on my path. This is the moon now has moved into Cancer, which she rules. Again, not where she is exalted, but where she rules. So this is a lovely moon. She's the ruler of the chart. She's in the first house. She's making a trine to Saturn and Mars, both in Pisces. So there's the water element of being rooted and strongly intuitive into that intuition. Like it's a knowing. And this will only this is the only time in the next, say, 28 years that Saturn will be in Pisces, where the moon will make that trine while Mars is with Saturn in Pisces, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So this is a rare one. Okay. This is a rare one.
Yeah.
Because the Mars moves into Pisces once every 2 years. To have that 2-year cycle coordinate with the 29 or 30-year cycle of Saturn. Besides, it won't happen in 28 years. How old will I be? 100 and something, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a rare one. Let me just say that'll be the last one I make in that.
Okay. Also, the same day, we have the final talisman we're going to discuss here, to embrace new beginnings.
So I am a force of resilience, creativity, and compassion. I am empowered by the harmonious alignment of these celestial sources. We have, again, that sun is exalted in Aries. We have the moon in domicile of Cancer, making a beautiful sextile to Jupiter in Taurus. And there's that reception. There's a mutual reception between the two because, let's figure this out. The moon is exalted in Taurus and Jupiter is there, and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So this is beautiful. And let me think, this will be the, let's see, we're in April. This is April. Yep. I may be able to get this one more time, but the sun won't be in Aries. And then Jupiter leaves Taurus by the end of May, and then and won't be back in Taurus for another 11 years. So again, this is to embrace new beginnings, and it's a crescent moon.
Yeah.
It's a crescent moon.
Right.
Yeah. So really good. Lots of talismans this month.
Very cool.
Because of all this going on. And the fact that, we do have to restock our supply because we did so many people met their talismans at the I Can Do It event.
Right.
So, and I'm heading out to Phoenix for another event in the end of May. So where more will find their wearers. So if there's any of this interesting for you, seriously, if you can grab them on pre-sale, then you're part of the creation process.
Yeah.
All right.
The talisman of the month for April is a very special type of talisman. This is the Jupiter-Uranus charm. Sandy is making a limited amount of these charms during this Jupiter-Uranus transit. It's one of the few transits that are going to be going on. This is April 29th, and all the charms have the intention to embrace the unexpected, allowing cosmic surprises to weave magic. The affirmation: I welcome these breakthroughs. My ideas blossom into sustainable solutions that benefit you and me. We are very excited to get this Jupiter conjunct Uranus and Taurus, trying the moon in Capricorn energy out there to everyone, because bringing in these breakthroughs, blossoming these ideas into sustainable solutions that benefit not just us, but the people around us is pretty awesome. And yeah, these
there's a
talismans are on special for $32
or $33. And, you know, all the bracelets have sold, but as a pre-sale, but the charms are available, and I still have quite a few of them left. Yeah.
Right.
So grab them.
So let's move on to the horizon. We just finished up a couple of weeks ago the Jupiter-Uranus Lucky Breaks free online event. If you weren't there, I highly recommend downloading it and streaming that, because that is a great source to learn a little bit more about what's going on. And by a little bit more, I mean a whole lot more. You will learn about Jupiter, its mysticism, its history. Uranus, same thing, all about Taurus and the history of this alignment, as well as the future, also personal future of where in your houses is this going to be. So it was a very cool, very successful free event. And we recorded it, so you have access. So
we
go ahead.
Recorded it, yes, twice.
That was one of Mercury's little tricks. We'll discuss more of those.
But I also want to say that Patreon, Susan Goodell and I, the financial astrologer, we've got a Patreon for the members. Big Dipper and above is a deeper dive into transit. And she brings in the history of the Jupiter-Uranus in the financial world.
Right. And that's April 10th.
That is coming up April 10th at 5:30.
Yep.
We'll do it live, but then that'll also be recorded. And
yes.
That you'll have to be on the Patreon group.
Yes. And join as a Big Dipper or above, and you're going to get all of the webinars, the webinar library, all there. So we have our retreats. September of this year is the Greece retreat. That is pretty much filled up except for one shared
space.
room. So if you are interested in joining, we would love to have you. And in October, shortly after that, is the Egypt retreat. That has so much information on our retreat page. So head over there and you'll learn all about the itinerary, all of the temples and incredible excursions that are going to be happening in the mystical world of Egypt.
Right. This is in October, and Zephy, who I'm collaborating with, has just gotten back from her first one of the year. She usually takes 2 groups a year. She took her first group already. She's just getting back. I have a call with her this weekend just to talk about all the fun stuff that she did and experiences, because she has been doing this for years, maybe 10 years. And then the second time she's going is with our group. She and I are coordinating this.
Right. Second time this year.
Yeah.
All right. So if you are interested in joining us for any retreat and you still have a few questions, or you want to learn a little bit more information, or even just meet Sandy for the first time, you can sign up for a free 15-minute call. And that link is, of course, in the description. That link, as well as all the other links I've described here in the podcast, are in the show notes. So let's move into our house, where we are going to be discussing Mercury's tricks for Sandy that happened on April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Well, one of them kind of happened a little early.
And it was a shadow period.
It was the shadow period. And that was when we talked about the Jupiter-Uranus Lucky Breaks Free event that we did. It was so great. We had such a full Zoom room full of people who are so excited to learn about it. They all were there. However, the people that registered, half of them couldn't be there live. So we were going to be recording it and sharing it off. However, there was an AI bot that was going to be like transcribing. It was like it's a download. So I didn't realize that as we were starting, there was a little like, bing, this meeting is being recorded. So I assumed that Sandy had pressed the record button. However, I was responsible to click the record button. However, since it was already clicked, I was like, all right, we're good. And I noticed the little blinking red light that we are recording. This is happening. But as soon as
great, full of energy, people were asking questions. It was all recorded. And then I'm like, oh boy, okay, I'm done with
time
that.
for dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm closing up down here and you text me, go, what? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like.
And I say that the recording never recorded. And the AI bot that came in was simply just recording so it could transcribe the audio into words. So we had a word recording of the webinar, but did not have an actual recording like video and audio for everyone to view. So we needed to re-record it again.
So I'm like, do we have to do this again? And she goes, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay.
But you did.
We did.
And you'll notice that when you download that video, I notify you that this is the second time that night that we're going to be doing it. So that was Mercury trick number 1. The second Mercury trick.
So on the night before, well, I'm going to read this first. So I get my daily skimmed, right? That's how I get my news. I love this group of women, and they all just every morning at 6:30, they just email me, and it's a big download of all, really succinct things.
They skim the news.
Yeah, they skim the news. So it says here, this is Monday, the day that Mercury retrograded, on Monday the 1st, April Fool's Day. It says an AT&T breach over the weekend. An AT&T breach. Over the weekend, the telecommunications giant said it's investigating how the personal data of its 73 million past and present customers got leaked into the dark web.
Oh, no.
The data includes accounts holders' social security numbers, but it doesn't appear to include financial info or call history. AT&T advised customers to reset their passwords and monitor their accounts for any questionable activity. And then the next line says, April Fools? Not really. Mercury's retrograde. So the girls, that's what I love about them. They stay abreast on all kinds of news information. Mm-hmm. And so it was like they brought that up too, which I thought was so cute and so funny. And it made me laugh and think, who cares about AT&T? But I am a past subscriber or
previous,
member. Yeah. So this came in on, where did it go? Okay, here. I get this because I'm now an Xfinity client. So on Sunday, I get a text in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. Hi, it's Xfinity Assistant. We'll be working to enhance the network in your area starting tomorrow, April 1st. Work will begin as early as 6 a.m. You'll experience service outages at my address. We anticipate completing your work within the day. A little bit late, then Monday. Mm-hmm. We are resuming the work in your neighborhood to enhance. You'll experience temporary or intermittent service interruptions while this work is being done. We'll notify you when the work is complete. the afternoon. Unfortunately, we were unable to complete work to enhance the Xfinity network in your area. We'll let you know when we've confirmed a date for our return. Later on that night. We are working now, and we are starting tomorrow in your area on April 2nd. Work could begin as early as 6 a.m. You'll experience service outages.
Wow.
The next day, we're resuming work in your neighborhood. We'll notify you when it's complete. And then on Tuesday in the afternoon, we've completed the work in your area. You should be up and running. Thank you for your patience.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for all of those notifications. But yeah, Mercury was going retrograde. Yeah. The last episode of the podcast, we were discussing that, like what is going to be happening, what tricks is Mercury, brewing, and here.
So what are they? Contact us. I know. What was the one I just heard? Oh, can we talk about this one?
Yeah.
That spring break just occurred, and anyone in any type of class, goes through a spring break. And so all the finals are due, and a lot of these are online finals, and, you got to get them in before you head out of town or go on break. Mm-hmm. And so someone had 4 midterm big exams and filled them all out, did them all, goes on vacation, comes back, and she is not permitted to go into her classroom for the next semester. And she gets this because you got a 0. 0? I got a 0 on my exam? How could that be? I've had a 91% this whole time. Mm-hmm. Like 0? And they said, because you didn't turn it in. She goes, I turned that in. Absolutely. I turned all the other 3 in and this one. So she is ousted from class.
That's a sick joke.
Because they can't find. And so now she has to go to her history on her computer. She had to prove that. She had to prove that. She had to file a grievance. And they said, well, this will take 7 to 10 days to have us look at that. And she's like, I'll be 7 to 10 days behind in all my classes because I can't attend. So just... let's hope that they find that and get that completed, because that's not a joke for anyone to play.
Right. No.
Fine, disrupt my service for a couple hours, or hey, share somebody else's security number with AT&T into the dark web hole, but don't play with my school. Right.
Education.
Yeah, education.
Well,
anyway, there you go.
Well, thank you everybody for listening in on this week's episode. We thank you for all of your feedback. We, of course, love to hear from you. So make sure that you email in or send us those reviews, send us those messages, wherever you listen to this podcast. So until next week, I hope you all have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story of you. The story of you, the story.